Okay, welcome to JC Connect. In the previous class, we were discussing about different types of settlings. Uh, we have discussed type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. And whenever the question has been asked, like what are the different types of settlings, so you have to draw all this sketch and you have to explain in detail how exactly the settlings is going to happen um, in sedimentation process. Of course, we discussed some of the very good the basic properties uh, of fluid particles. So that first one, that is density. That is, we can call it as a mass density. And secondly, that is weight density. The mass density unit is given by kg per meter cube, and the weight density, it is given by Newton per meter cube. Um, and the third, uh, it is uh, the specific volume, and the fourth one, it is related to the specific gravity and viscosity and surface tension. So all these six properties are very much essential for the sedimentation process. So when we say uh, uh, that uh, all these properties are, we will have a look into this uh, concepts in sedimentation process later. But um, when it comes to the dependency of the particle settlement, uh, it is uh, related to the diameter, density, uh, medium temperature, viscosity, etc. So all should do you should know the um, um, concept of all these properties um, whenever we are discussing about the sedimentation process. So then, what exactly the particle sizes that are found in the sedimentation process? When I've always in the first class itself, I've given the three main classification of solids. Three main classification of, that is, first one, suspended. Second one, that is dissolved. You can keep it as three. And the second one is colloidal. So as it is going from first to three, from first to three, the particle size is go on decreasing. So always we have to look into based on what size of particles are present that in water treatment. Most of the time, what will happen is that um, I already said that we always have to target the main dissolved particles, because we are at present we are facing the problem with the dissolved particles. If you come to the particle size of dissolved, it is very less. It is very less. For example, I already given some of the examples. Sodium chloride, the salt, if you dissolve it in water, you cannot see it. But a colloidal particles or suspended salt, you can see it. You can see it means the size of particle is more. So then, how what exactly the sizes will be there? If viruses are present in water, then that will be 0.005 to 0.01 micron. If bacteria is present, so it is having the size of 0.3 to 3 micron. Again, different types of bacteria are available, different types of viruses are available. So if you see that it is like you cannot see, right? You have to use the microscope to observe the all these microbes or microorganisms that is present in water. Then some of the small colloids, what we are talking about, the colloidal solids. Colloidal, colloidal solids. So uh, they are having the size of 0.1 to 1. Then soil, if soil sediments are there, okay, so it is having 1 to 100 micron. If sand particle is there, then it is having 500 micron. And if any flock particles are there, it is similar to the silt particles. Okay, if any silt or flock particles are there, so it is having the size of 100 to 2000 microns. So viruses, bacteria, small colloids, and the large colloids. These particles that must be chemically and physically conditioned for removal. Normally, all this what you are up to here, small colloids, up to small colloids, you have to stabilize it first. You cannot remove all these things directly with the help of the sedimentation process. So first you have to stabilize it, uh, and you have to make it a bigger mass, like in the flocculant settling we have been discussing about. So it has to become closer, and one this assume that if those two particles are there, you have to make it to come to close together, and you have to make it a bigger particle. So once you are making the bigger particle, automatically it is going to increase its mass. So once the mass is going to increase, automatically it is going to settle. So these are all smart particles. For example, if 1 lakh viruses are there, if 2 lakhs viruses are there, you uh, uh, make it a bigger mass with the help of some external agents. So the external agents, what we can call it as the coagulants, or sometimes we'll use as the disinfectants to increase the bigger size of the particles. And then soil, sand, and this can be easily removed because it is having the higher mass as it is in on the original. So no need to convert into bigger mass. So it can be settled easily. So these are normally found in the water treatment process. So then that is uh, some solids interact during their settling and change their shape and size. So that is flocculant particles we already discussed. Uh, so go through this. This is one more uh, type 2. Type 2 settling. And you can see this is one typical type of sedimentation tank you can observe here. Okay, it is the rectangular sedimentation tank. Okay, we have different types of sedimentation tanks are there. The previous one what we have discussed, that is about different types of settling, and here we have different types of mainly sedimentation tanks are there. Sedimentation tanks. So first one, it is normally basically again different classifications are when you start with the basic things, but we'll use the one is circular type of sedimentation tank. Second one, rectangular type of sedimentation tank. Normally these two classifications. What you can observe in this, you can see it is a rectangular type of sedimentation tank. You can see the length and you can see the breadth. And what we'll do is that will allow the water to stay for long time. Again, um, we can call one very important, that is retention time. Normally, we can call it as hydraulic hydraulic retention time. Hydraulic retention time. Hydraulic in the sense the water retention time. So if you keep the water for, and it is varying from 30 to 60 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes. If you keep the water for uh, this much time, then definitely um, the solids which are present in water, it is going to settle. Okay, especially the type 1 settling, that is discrete particle settling, it is going to settle within 5 minutes. And again the flocculent settling, zone settling, and um, the compression settling, it is going to happen up to 30 to 60 minutes. It depends on the size, shape of the particles, as well as the density of the fluid, density of the particles, so specific gravity of the particles. So even most of the time, I already said that in the screens, how exactly the we completed the screening process, we completed the aeration process, and we now arrived at the sedimentation process. So I already said that in the screening process, only the velocity will be very high um, wherever the screens are going to capture, or your bars are going to capture the screens that can be removed. But some of the sand particles um, or some of the silt particles, normally they are going to escape even through the fine screens. So that we are going to remove in this sedimentation process. So if you keep the water for a long time, automatically it is going to settle. So you can conduct one experiment in your house also. Take a glass uh, um, beaker, or this one, even a glass lota also. Uh, to take some soil particles, and just put that soil particles on that. Initially, you won't observe any sedimentation process, but after 30 or 50 minutes, you can observe almost all the particles are settled at the bottom. And this is the uh, one process of rectangular, circular type of sedimentation tank. You can see here. Okay, even this um, one more type of classification. Previously, what we did, that is they based on the different type of shape, and this is we are going to circular and rectangular type. And based on the base based on the type of operation, we are going to classify the sedimentation tanks in, that is, primary sedimentation tank, and second also it is secondary sedimentation tank. So based on the type of operation or the priority of the pollutant which can be removed. So here also you can classify primary sedimentation tank. Again, you have the circular and rectangular. In secondary sedimentation tank, again circular, and you have a rectangular. Normally we'll use the circular sedimentation tank than the rectangular sedimentation tank, as it is having the more advantage. So if you take the um, circular type of sedimentation tank, normally what will happen, it is having the circumferential area. Uh, Always the efficiency of the sedimentation process of the circular tank is more than the rectangular sedimentation tank. Why? Because assume that if if the particle is here, okay, assume that it is a circular sedimentation tank. Then what will happen is that whenever if it is going to hit to the inside surface body of the circular tank, always the tendency of towards the settlement it will be there. Okay, always the tendency of the downward settlement, always it will be there, and always sometimes it is going to hit here, then it is going to lose the energy, that particle, again it will come and it will lose the energy, again it will come and it will lose the energy. So once it is going to lose the energy, means you are destabilizing the particles. So that should happens in the sedimentation process. Always the particle has to lose its energy. So always each particle, as the Einstein theory, the particle theory, you already observed particle theory. So what it will say that the the mass or each particle is having its own mass and it carries its energy. Always it will carry its energy irrespective of its shape and size. Even the small particles it is carrying small energy. So then how that can be reduced? So normally the sedimentation process is going to happen only when uh, it is it is going to lose the energy. I already said that the colloidal particles is carrying is carrying energy or the charge. See, if you take uh, some of the colloidal particles, um, like chalk powder, if you take, it is having its own charges. Or if you take some of the, if you even if you take the milk, so milk particles is having its own charges. Suppose if you want to concentrate all those milk particles, and if you want to make it very clear, crystal clear, uh, make it separation of water, then for that what you have to do is that you have to add one external agent. Okay, if you add an external agent to that milk, then if you mix it, definitely it is going to concentrate, and you can observe the clear picture um, of the water and the milk, and the milk is going to concentrate. Sometimes, many times in the dairy, this process they are going to follow. So when you add any external agent to any of this colloidal solids containing water, so then these colloidal solids containing positive and negative charges. So this charges has to be neutralized. Whatever the charges are there, it has to be neutralized. So then how we are going to make it neutralize? One way is by adding the chemicals or by adding the coagulants, that can be done. And one more is that bombarding each other. For example, you have this particle is there, this particle is there. Allowed to bombard these two particles. So once they bombard each other, definitely what will happen is that um, it is going to observe, or you are going to observe in the reduction of the solids, or the reduction of the charges. So then how exactly the diagram of the settling tank? So normally it is having of a circular shape, and the water is going to come from the bottom. Always the water is going to come from the bottom, and it is going to distribute in this way. It is going to distribute in this way. Okay. Then once the outflow will be from this direction. Inflow is this one. Outflow is on these two sides. Outflow. Okay, it is going to come out. Okay, you can see this portion. It is a hopper bottom. If you see this portion, see this portion is hopper bottom. So why they have made like this? When you allow the solids containing water from the bottom, and it will come here, and the water will move along this direction and this direction also. And once you make hopper bottom like this, the solids particle whichever they are present here, so it will start settling. Okay, and most of the solids are collected at this portion. Okay, whatever the solids here are there, slowly it will move under the influence of the gravity in this direction, and that solids will be captured in this area, that is known as sludge. See here, you can see the little bit darker area here. Here, this is a little bit dark. Okay, it is nothing but the solids are settled. Okay, the thickening has happened. The type 4 settling has been happened. That we can call it as a compression settling has been happened. This is nothing but the compression settling. It is nothing but the compression settling. Then when it is going to create a bigger mass, so then automatically it will move towards this side. It will move towards this side, and here collection chamber will be there, that we can call it as a sludge collecting trough. We can call this as a sludge collecting trough. Okay, then here what will happen is that sludge scraper arm will be attached. So for example, if it is not settling easily, or if it is not moving towards the sludge collecting trough, then always on scraping, what it will do is that it will push whatever the solids that are settled here, it will try to push along this direction. That's it is scraping mechanism. Okay, it will uh, move the that sludge scraping mechanism will move the sludge towards the sludge collecting trough. Okay, then again, um, according to this primary sedimentation tank, you have settling zone is here. This one we can call it settling zone, and this one we can call it as the sludge zone. Whatever it is there, it is calling a sludge zone, and this one is sludge collecting trough. Okay, and sludge can be removed from this area. Okay, so this is how you have to explain it, and always explain with the help of type 1, type 2, type 3 settling process. So here you can observe type 1 is also happening, type 2 is also happening, type 4 is also happening, and type 3 is also happening. So this is one typical type of primary sedimentation tank. Okay, uh, they may ask one design also. We'll solve one or two problems in the next class. Okay, design a primary settling tank with a simple concepts. Okay, so sometimes it will be in circular. So whenever you are designing the circular tank, so you have to design the diameter and the height. Okay, normally the retention time will be given. Retention time will be given, and the quantity of uh, flow also will be given. That is million liters per day, like that he will give. Like design a primary sedimentation tank for the 20 mld capacity, like that the question will be given. So you have to assume all the values, like what will the retention time, what will be the diameter, and you have to assume some of the systematic values, and you have to proceed. Suppose if it is a rectangular sedimentation tank, so you have to design length, breadth, and height. Okay, length, breadth, and height of the tank, you have to design it. So always um, some of the concepts we'll use in designing the sedimentation tank. So the time of settling. For example, in a tank, you have one particle is there. If this particle is coming at this position, means how much time it is taking to how much time it is taking to settle at this place. So what is this concept? Normally, this is given by the time for settling is the column depth divided by settling velocity. So it is given by column depth divided by settling velocity. So some particles takes less time and some particles takes longer time for settling. So this I'll explain it. This one. Okay. This we will I'll explain it how exactly that T with the help of the graph. Okay. So it depends on at present case what you can observe is that um, here two concepts are important. One is some particles will take more time and some particles will take less time always. Okay, depends on the particle shape, particle size, density, and the viscosity. Okay, here the T design and the T settling two concepts are very important. This I'll explain it. So T design and T settling. So T design means designed time for settling. Designed time for settling means you'll design one tank that this particle should settle within 2 minutes. This we can call it as P based on the particles shape, particle size, and the density or specific gravity of the particles. You will design that this particle has to be settled within 2 minutes. Then it won't be the same as the time of settling. Sometimes it may take 2.2 minutes. Okay, sometimes it will take 2.3 minutes. Okay, that is the design time and the settling time. Okay, suppose if T design is greater than T settling, you assume that it removes 100% because T design, if it is 2.3 minutes, okay, then time of settling, then of course it is going to remove the 100%. And if T design is lesser than T settling, then particle will not remove the 100% because design itself is the lesser time, okay, than the settling time. Okay, then it will not remove any 100%. So this you have to understand carefully. These two T design versus T settling. Okay. So remaining particle go to the next unit for treatment scheme. So if this is happening in the second case, so then most of the particles will not settle. Assume that if it is going to settle only 90%, then the remaining 10% it will go to the second unit of treatment process, that is SST, secondary settling tank. It will go to the secondary settling tank. Now you understood why the secondary settling tank is required. So based on the operation, I said that it is primary sedimentation tank and secondary sedimentation tank. So in most of the time, in the primary sedimentation tank, you cannot remove 100% of the particles, or 10 to 20% it is going to remain. So that can be removed in the secondary sedimentation tank. Okay. Uh, the remaining things possibly we will discuss in the next class. We'll discuss in the uh, next class. Okay. Just give the attendance.